Hello, my name is John Nagoski, and I'm from Wisconsin in the USA. I would like to introduce you to my channel, English Reading with Questions and Answers. The Richest Man in Babylon, 1926, as read by John Nagoski. About the author. George Samuel Clason was born in Louisiana, Missouri on November 7, 1874. He attended the University of Nebraska and served in the United States Army during the Spanish-American War. Beginning a long career in publishing, he founded the Clason Map Company of Denver, Colorado, and published the first road atlas of the United States and Canada. In 1926, he issued the first of a famous series of pamphlets on thrift and financial success, using parables set in ancient Babylon to make each of his points. These were distributed in large quantities by banks and insurance companies and became familiar to millions, the most famous being The Richest Man in Babylon, the parable from which the present volume takes its title. These Babylonian parables have become a modern inspirational classic. Foreword. Our prosperity as a nation depends upon the personal financial prosperity of each of us as individuals. This book deals with the personal successes of each of us. Success means accomplishments as a result of our own efforts and abilities. Proper preparation is the key to our success. Babylon became the wealthiest city of the ancient world because its citizens were the richest people of their time. They appreciated the value of money. They practiced sound financial principles in acquiring money, keeping money, and making their money earn more money. They provided for themselves what we all desire, incomes for the future. Money is the medium by which earthly success is measured. Money makes possible the enjoyment of the best of earth affords. Money is plentiful for those who understand the simple laws which govern its acquisition. Money is governed today by the same laws which controlled it when prosperous men thronged the streets of Babylon 6,000 years ago. Chapter 1. The Man Who Desired Gold. Bansir, the chariot builder of Babylon, was thoroughly discouraged. From his seat upon the low wall surrounding his property, he gazed sadly at his simple home and the open workshop in which stood a partially completed chariot. His wife frequently appeared at the open door. Her furtive glances in his direction reminded him that the meal bag was almost empty, and he should be at work finishing the chariot, hammering and hewing, polishing and painting, stretching taut the leather over the wheel rims, preparing it for delivery so he could collect from his wealthy customer. Nevertheless, his fat, muscular body sat stolidly upon the wall. His slow mind was struggling patiently with a problem for which he could find no answer. The hot tropical sun, so typical of this valley of the Euphrates, beat down upon him mercilessly. Beads of perspiration formed upon his brow and trickled down unnoticed to lose themselves in the hairy jungle on his chest. Beyond his home towered the high terraced wall surrounding the king's palace. Nearby, cleaving the blue heavens, was the painted tower of the Temple of Bel. In the shadow of such grandeur was his simple home, and many others far less neat and well cared for. Babylon was like this, a mixture of grandeur and squalor, of dazzling wealth and direst poverty, crowded together without plan or system within the protecting walls of the city. Behind him, had he cared to turn and look, the noisy chariots of the rich jostled and crowded aside the sandaled tradesmen as well as the barefooted beggars. Even the rich were forced to turn into the gutters to clear the way for the long lines of slave water carriers on the king's business. each bearing a heavy goatskin of water to be poured upon the hanging gardens. Bansir was too engrossed in his own problem to hear or heed the confused hubbub of the busy city. It was the unexpected twanging of the strings from a familiar lyre that aroused him from his reverie. He turned and looked into the sensitive, smiling face of his best friend, Kobe the musician. "May the gods bless thee with great liberality, my good friend," began Kobe, with an elaborate salute. "I'm glad with your good fortune. More, I would even share it with you. Pray from your purse, which must be bulging, and you will not be busy in your shop. Lend 2 humble shekels to me until after the nobleman's feast this night." "If I did have 2 shekels," Bansir responded gloomily, "to no one could I lend them, not even to you, my best of friends, for they would be my fortune, my entire fortune. No one lends his entire fortune, not even to his best friend." "What?" exclaimed Kobe with genuine surprise. "You has not 1 shekel in your purse, yet sit like a statue upon a wall. Why not complete that chariot? Where is your endless energy?" "A torment from the gods it must be," Bansir agreed. "It began with a dream, a senseless dream, in which I thought I was a man of means. From my belt hung a handsome purse, heavy with coins. There were shekels which I cast with careless freedom to the beggars. There were pieces of silver with which I did buy finery for my wife and whatever I did desire for myself. There were pieces of gold which made me feel assured of the future and unafraid to spend the silver. A glorious feeling of contentment was within me. She was again the smiling maiden of our early married days." "A pleasant dream indeed," commented Kobe. "But why should such pleasant feelings as it aroused turn into a glum statue upon the wall?" "Why indeed? Because when I awoke and remembered how empty was my purse, a feeling of rebellion swept over me. Let us talk it over together, for, as the sailors do say, we ride in the same boat, we two. As youngsters, we went together to the priests to learn wisdom. As young men, we shared each other's pleasures. As grown men, we have always been close friends. We have been contented subjects of our kind. We have been satisfied to work long hours and spend our earnings freely. We have earned much coin in the years that have passed. Yet to know the joys that come from wealth, we must dream about them." Then what do I reply? Do I say, "Here is my purse. Its contents will I gladly share"? No, I admit that my purse is as empty as yours. What is the matter? Why cannot we acquire silver and gold, more than enough for food and robes? "Consider also our sons," Bansir continued. "Are they not following in the footsteps of their fathers? Need they and their families and their sons' families live all their lives in the midst of such treasures of gold, and yet, like us, be content to banquet upon sour goat's milk and porridge? Never in all the years of our friendship did not you talk like this before, Bansir." Kobe was puzzled. "Never in all those years did I think like this before. From early dawn until darkness stopped me, I have labored to build the finest chariots any man could make, soft-heartedly hoping some day the gods would recognize my worthy deeds and bestow upon me great prosperity. This they have never done. At last, I realize this they will never do. Therefore my heart is sad. I wish to be a man of means. I wish to own lands and cattle, to have fine robes and coins in my purse. I am willing to work for these things with all the strength in my back, with all the skill in my hands, with all the cunning in my mind. But I wish my labors to be fairly rewarded. What is the matter with us? Again I ask you, why cannot we have our just share of the good things so plentiful for those who have the gold with which to buy them?" "Would I know an answer," Kobe replied. "No better than you am I satisfied. The earnings from my lyre are quickly gone. Often must I plan and scheme that my family be not hungry. Also within my breast is a deep longing for a lyre large enough that it may truly sing the strains of music that do surge through my mind. With such an instrument could I make music finer than even the king has heard before. No man in all Babylon could make it sing more sweetly, could make it sing so sweetly. Not only the king, but the gods themselves would be delighted. But how are you sure I will have such a lyre while we both are as poor as the king's slaves? Listen to the bell. Here they come. He pointed to the long column of half-naked, sweating water-bearers plodding laboriously up the narrow street from the river. 5 abreast they marched, each bent under a heavy goatskin of water. A fine figure of a man, he who lead them. Kobe indicated the wearer of the bell, who marched in front without a load. A prominent man in his own country, easy to see. There are many good figures in the line, Banser agreed. As good men as we. Tall, blond men from the north, laughing black men from the south, little brown men from the nearer countries. All marching together from the river to the gardens, back and forth, day after day, year after year. Naught of happiness to look forward to, beds of straw upon which to sleep, hard grain porridge to eat. Pity the poor brutes, Kobe. Pity them I do, yet you make me see how little better off are we, freemen though we call ourselves. That is truth, Kobe, unpleasant thought though it be. We do not wish to go on year after year living slavish lives, working, getting nowhere. Might we not find out how others acquire gold and do as they do? Kobe inquired. Perhaps there is some secret we might learn if we but sought from those who knew, replied Banser thoughtfully. This very day, suggested Kobe, I did pass our old friend Arkad, riding in his golden chariot. This I will say, he did not look over my humble head, as many in his station might consider his right. Instead, he did wave his hand, that all onlookers might see him pay greetings, and bestow his smile of friendship upon Kobe, the musician. He is claimed to be the richest man in all Babylon, Banser mused. So rich the king is said to seek his golden aid in affairs of the treasury, Kobe replied. So rich, Banser interrupted, I fear if I should meet him in the darkness of the night, I should lay my hands upon his fat wallet. Nonsense, reproved Kobe. A man's wealth is not in the purse he carries. A fat purse quickly empties if there be no golden stream to refill it. Arkad has an income that constantly keeps his purse full, no matter how liberally he spends. Income, that is the thing, ejaculated Banser. I wish an income that will keep flowing into my purse, whether I sit upon the wall or travel to far lands. Arkad must know how a man can make an income for himself. He could make clear to a mind as slow as mine. Methinks he did teach his knowledge to his son, no, monsieur, Kobe responded. Did he not go to Nineveh, and, so it is told at the inn, become, without aid from his father, one of the richest men in that city? A new light gleamed in Banser's eyes. It cost nothing to ask wise advice from a good friend, and Arkad was always that. Never mind, though our purses be as empty as the falcon's nest of a year ago. Let that not detain us. We are weary of being without gold in the midst of plenty. We wish to become men of means. Come, let us go to Arkad, and ask how we, also, may acquire incomes for ourselves. You make me to realize the reason why we have never found any measure of wealth. We never sought it. You have labored patiently to build the staunchest chariots in Babylon. To that purpose was devoted your best endeavors. Now, at last, we see a light, bright like that from the rising sun. It makes us to learn more that we may prosper more. With a new understanding, we shall find honorable ways to accomplish our desires. This ends chapter 1.